Welcome back to the channel here. Today's project is going to be working on our 1086. This is a 1979 1086 International tractor. When we first got it, we'd already done our flasher lights and then the red lights in the rear. And I got all the original lights working, but we used this one to blow snow for us now during the winter. And so having a little bit brighter lights would be nice. We're adding some yard lights in here too, as our place didn't have a lot of yard lights with it. But so for today's project, we're going to be going to LED lights. I get the clear lens style. You can get the ones that have the, more traditional style looking lens. I use these same ones on our 706. Probably 12 or so years ago when I bought that one. So I like these lights. I'm not in any way, shape, or form sponsored by Tiger Lights, but these are their TL 3015. I think the ones that have the texture on the lens are like a 2050 or something. But if you go on their website, you'd be able to find those just fine. Larson Lights, I know, is another really common one that a lot of people use. So at the end of the day, just the goal is to get more light. So kind of got laid out for tools today. I have the multimeter with, because on these lights, and I'll try to show you on the back of the tractor here. So just in case I lose track of which one is the power and the ground, because everything coming from the tractor for the most part is yellow. There is a stripe on a couple of them, but it's two red wires coming out, and then it's, we just got to keep track of which one goes to the ground. But the reason that's important is I believe these factory lights, they're not labeled power or ground, because the halogens, it doesn't necessarily matter which side you're hooked up on. But with an LED, power will only go through it in one way. So your ground and your 12 volt power do make a big difference. So outside of that, I have my Deutsch toolkit. Again, this was a toolkit that I keep on hand here for when I'm doing wiring projects. And then the female socket connectors and the pin connectors. So you can certainly just use butt splices or blade connections or whatever else you want to use for a wire connector. I like the Deutsch ones. They're just maybe a little bit more weather tight and seem to hold up a little bit better. We used them on our monitor when I made that. I can do a future video over that, but we've added a electronic or digital readout bale shape sensors, new bale counter, and fixed the buzzer alarm that would have been like the factory portion for our round baler. So that'll be a future video. But for today's project, I'm gonna get set up and I'll bring you back in once I start working. All right, so kind of getting set up here. First light out of the box, got my socket connectors over here, or the kind of the female side of the Deutsch setup. Running the DTP series on these ones because they're 14 gauge wires. So usually 12 to 14 gauge wires, you're going to use that DTP series. So okay, so we have light coming in from the machine shed door being open. So not like a great, show of what we got going, but anybody that's made the conversion knows how much brighter or how much more you can kind of see once you get the LEDs in. Again, we've already done the tail lights and the flashers on this one. So just doing our headlights and work lights, I guess. But that's kind of a little bit of a before here. All right, so a few minutes ago in the video, I talked about having the multimeter here in case we lose track of which one's power and ground. For the most part, we should be good on this tractor because so you see the two red wires coming out. The one on the uncovered terminals, so I mean that's bare metal that's not covered up, would be the ground. You can also follow that back here to the tail light. That's on the black side of that connector. So those kind of all share the same ground. That is right there on the cab. I think some of the front lights, it's a little bit harder to see where the grounds and stuff are. But so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut my wires on the top side there on each of these. And so when I come back and do the Deutsch connector, I'll cut one at a time. I'll do my power side first and my ground side second, just so I can make sure I get it right. I usually put my power on pin 1 and my ground on pin 2. I don't know why, that's just the way I do it, because I usually always do the power wires first. So just something to look at when you're doing this. And again, the reason I didn't put the whole connector on is the wires still have to poke through the hole on the back side of the par 36 housing, and so you cannot put the whole connector together ahead of time. We'll have to put it together after we get the wires fished out of the housing and get the bulb replaced. Well, we ran into a little predicament, so I took the bulb out. Of course, these sit up there. There's just a bolt on the back of the housing, basically, that's hollowed in the center to run the wires through. And so, wow, that was really rusty. Bumped it a little bit, moved it a couple times as I was getting the light out, and it came apart in 2 pieces. So before we can finish this project, we're going to have to get at least one more housing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop the other 5 lights out, see if any of the other housings are that bad, and I guess we'll get some new housings on order. That's going to delay this project a little bit, but we'll get back to it and we'll get it done. All right, it has been a number of days. It is also super windy outside of the machine. You can see when the camera focuses, the bale tarp is just blowing there. But I did get the rest of my parts in now, so I can finally pick up this light project, hopefully, and get it done. So we're gonna be using replacement house Larson lights. So SKU for them would be LL0030. Again, not sponsoring in any way, shape, or form. But they were the cheapest ones I found, and actually the easiest ones I was able to find is the bolt-on housing. So that's kind of the box it comes in. I apologize to the camera there. It just replacement housing, bolt-on housing. The rubber grommet you have to put on yourself, but otherwise everything's kind of there intact. So now I'm going to try to set the camera up, and we're going to pop the light in, put our connectors on. Still got everything set up for that. Haven't made it real far since the last video. We'll get this first one put together, and then I'll probably shut the camera off for a while and just hammer out the rest of them and show you what it looks like once we have them all hooked up. All right, so there we have our light in the housing, the cable out the back. Now, what a lot of the LED manufacturers recommend is actually ventilating the housings. I haven't on the 706, and I'm probably not going to on the 1086 here, simply because I don't use the lights for an extremely long period of time. Most everything we're doing with our kind of small farm here is daylight hour stuff, except blowing snow, and then usually up here we're pretty cold, so we don't worry about it too much. But I'll show you here. I'll put one of the connectors together quick. We'll put this one in, and then, like I said, I'm going to roll on to the other ones. So with these Deutsch connectors, there's a socket side, so kind of the female side, and then there's a pin side, so your male side. There's different crimping tools depending on which style sets you're putting together. I think I already covered, I believe these are the DTP for 12 to 14 gauge wire. That one needs to be stripped a tiny bit more. Okay, that should work. Alright, so pop the second one in there. Give it a good crimp. Again, really solid connection. Yes, this is overkill. You could just put the 1/4-inch blade terminals back on and call it good. I guess I just like doing this a little bit better. So now I'm going to look at my connector. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but there's number 1 here and then number 2 over on this side. So I usually always put my power wire on number 1 just out of habit. And if it's a ground, on number 2. When I show you guys the bale monitor we built, you'll see that kind of just had a bunch of different wires, so then they just end up at wherever I want to put them. But that is helpful if you're going to like start a project and not come back to it for a little while. Then it's helpful because you can write all those numbers down and you'll remember what pins everything was on. Okay, and that one's not wanting to push in real well. All right, there we go. So both of them are pushed in there. Then to finish off the connector, there's going to be a wedge lock. So the wedge lock is going to get pushed down in there, and then that locks everything in place. So nice sealed connection on the back side. I will get the pins out here and I'll show you guys the pins. So on the pin side, again, nice weather tight on the back side. Then on the DTP, you can see that orange ring in there, so there's another seal ring on the inside. So again, just a really nice weatherproof connection. So the other thing I just noticed as I did this is I'll have to pop this back off, which is not hard. They're easy to take back apart because I need to take the nut in this washer off and put it on the tractor first. But I'll get that off, get it on the tractor, and then I'll pick you guys back up once I have all of the lights done. Okay, well, we have hit our first point now where I found some wiring. This is the lower cab light on the right side. That has been worked on by somebody else, and so I really don't know what's power and ground. So I'm going to take the multimeter here. We're going to go to DC voltage. There you go. You can see the little marker over on the side, or the wavy line usually means alternating, and the solid line on the multimeter usually means DC or direct. So direct would be from a battery source, alternating would be like your household wiring. So my wires fell back inside there, but I'm gonna jump up here. I have the car right now on the battery. I don't have the battery charger over here, but our daughter was playing with the tractor a few weeks back, and I left the key on at one point, and it kind of probably gonna have to put new batteries in it. But just charging it up a little bit here while I'm doing this. Now I don't know if I will be able to do this one-handed. Let me see if I can get you guys in a spot where I can film and do this at the same time. All right, so I'm gonna just go to this terminal, hold that one, if I can make this work. And now I need to find a good solid ground. Okay, so I'm getting voltage there, which means I should not, and now I dropped it, I should not be getting voltage on this one. And looks like no matter where I ground, I am reading a bunch of zeros. Let's see. Okay. Check this one more time. Yep, and I'm getting 13 volts there. So this one is going to be my hot lead. This is going to be my ground lead. Again, I apologize. I have a flashlight over here, so my fingers are all lit up. But so hot, negative. Now I'll get it wired up, and I'll bring you guys back in if I find anything else interesting, or if there are any other problems. Otherwise, it'll be once all the lights are in. All right, so I got the lights finished up. It's starting to get dark out. Most of my projects I do in the evening. This is a Sunday, so we had church this morning, and then just spent some time with the kids. As we're getting into fall here, and days are getting short, and the weather's gonna get cold. So spent some time with them. We're just gonna have ready for supper here, so I'll have to head in. But so I still need to align them. So these two in the back, and then the two down at the bottom of the cab, I put brand new housings in. And then the front two lights just got new rubber grommets. Those housings were in really good shape, but the rubber grommets were of course all weather checked. So got it running just to make sure the batteries are charging. Again, that key had got left on, but here it is up front. And then of course on the 1086s, there's a few light positions. So this would be like road mode. So I got my red tail lights, my LEDs, flashers, those are all replaced.
I replaced those last December when we got the tractor, and just made the original lights work. And now that we've had the tractor a little bit longer and I got some other kinks worked out, I thought it was time to upgrade the lights there. And then of course just flasher mode if it's daytime. We have all that working. So I'll shut the tractor down here, get that off, turn our key off. I appreciate you guys for watching the video. That is the homemade bale monitor over there. I will go over that at some point in a video. One of the next projects that we'll have is this good old light plug on the back of the tractor. That has basically a left flasher, a right flasher, and a ground, but it's a 7-pin coupler, so I'm going to be adding some wires there. I'm actually going to make it so this white light runs down there. Oops, sorry. There we go. This white light will run down to there and have a signal wire on that, as well as I'm going to make the red one go down there too. The round baler right now, my tire that I've been having issues with is flat again, so I got to take that off and put a tube in it. But I have flashers and red lights on the back side of the baler, and so I want those to all work. The flashers work off the existing wiring, but I want the red ones to come on too. So that's one reason we're going to do that. And then the reason I'm going to have the white light power go down there is I'm going to be adding lights to the snowblower. So we're coming up on the end of October here in real time. It'll probably be a little bit till this video is actually up. But when I'm always blowing snow in the dark, sometimes it just gets to be a little bit hard to see. So I have an LED light to put on basically the outside edge of the blower on each side. And I'm going to wire that in to just work on the factory light plug on the back of the tractor. So that'll be some of the upcoming projects, as well as doing some gaskets and some seals on the 706. I got a couple places that are leaking that we're going to try to get shored up. But these, if I didn't show it, are basically the same LED lights over here, except these are high-low. So just one set of the bulbs comes on low, and then the other 4 come on with high. And then we added auxiliary rear lights back here. And I got some rewiring work to doing on this too, because right now I believe these ones come on all the time, and really when you're going down the road, the only thing that should be on would be the flashers or a red tail light. So I've had this tractor for quite a while. It really doesn't go out on the road. We pretty much do everything here at our place. But that'll be some upcoming stuff as well. It might not be till spring, but the wiring on the tractor and the snowblower will for sure be this fall yet, and then we'll go from there. So appreciate you tuning in. I don't have a heated shop that fits this kind of stuff inside. I do have a little bit of heated space I work in. I'm currently restoring a 656 in that building, and so that one's kind of full of tractor that's blowing apart into a whole bunch of pieces. But thank you again for watching. Thanks for hanging out again with Mueller Family Livestock, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video.